Hello everyone, and welcome to Shell Point Today for Tuesday, April 19th. I'm Dan Philgreen. On today's show, we'll get an update from the Butterfly Garden with Jane Johnston, and we'll hear about the men's breakfast sponsored by the Legacy Foundation happening next week. But first, we'd like to remind you that this Thursday there will be an outing to the Echo Farm in North Fort Myers. Their purpose for 32 years has been to help those who are teaching farmers around the world how to be more effective in producing enough food to meet the needs of their families and their communities. They in turn teach others, and the echo effect continues. Come learn more about this fascinating place in a guided walking tour of the most creative farm you will ever experience. You'll see demonstrations, plants, and techniques useful to farmers and urban gardeners in developing countries. The cost of the trip is $17.50 with lunch on your own, which will be at Applebee's. Court pickups begin on the island at 8:15, so make sure you've signed up. Thursday will also be the time for the Computer Club meeting. Mike Peterson from Computer Medics will return with the owner of Cartridge World to talk about printers and options for purchasing printers that will work with all of your digital devices, such as smartphones, tablets, iPads, laptops, and desktops. The meeting begins at 2:15 p.m. in the Manatee Room. And you can wrap up your Thursday with an exciting meal opportunity that will be fun and filling. Why, you can just stuff yourself like a pig at this event. In fact, that could be the reason it's called a pig roast dinner. Join us for a great evening of music and food out at the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. The cost is $15 per person for slow roasted pork, chicken breast, coleslaw, baked beans, and a dinner roll. There's even lemonade, iced tea, and dessert. Did I mention music? You'll enjoy your favorite oldies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s as played by Peter and Helen Rosenblum. Space is limited, so make sure that you sign up. The last year saw pretty exciting changes out at the Butterfly Garden on the island. Thanks to some generous donations and hard-working volunteers, it has become a beautiful oasis to relax and enjoy the butterflies in a natural environment. It also affords the opportunity to learn about these fascinating creatures who undergo dramatic changes, from caterpillar to butterfly, of course. Jane Johnston brought along butterfly photographer Alvin Williams and Sharalee Dias, who's in charge of the bed and breakfast, to give us a tour of the garden.
Hi, I'm Jane Johnston, and I'm chairman of the Butterfly Habitat Committee here at Shell Point. And with me, I have Alvin Williams and Sharalee Dias. Alvin, would you like to tell us what you do?
Well, I'm sort of the volunteer photographer for the group, and it's taken me a year to document the different species of butterflies here. We have about 24 species right now.
Hi, I'm Sharalee Dias, and I have a passion for butterflies, and I've been butterfly gardening since 2010, so I was very happy when I joined Shell Point that they had a butterfly garden. Currently, I'm in charge of the Butterfly Bed and Breakfast, and I also am on the Plant Selection Committee. So Jane, are you going to take them for a tour of the garden?
Yes, I am. Come on and join us as we come through the garden. As we I love our entrance here, and as we make our way in, we always want to remember that this garden was made possible by a generous donation by Hermine Hartley in honor of her mother, Hermine Peppinger. And as we come in here through the trellis, Shirley, you want to tell them a little about this vine?
Yes, on this trellis we have two types of pipe vine and a passion vine. These are all host plants for butterflies. We have our polydamas butterfly, and we have the most of those, and then passion vine supports the Gulf fritillaries and the zebra longwings. If you come back in a month or two, hopefully this will be eaten almost all the way to the ground, and then you know we have a lot of butterflies.
Actually, I've started to document all of the varieties of plants that we have here, the nectar plants and the host plants. So I have quite a few photographs now that you can look at the pictures and you can identify each plant, either by the plant itself or the flower or the leaf. And that's coming along quite well.
As we make our way on into the garden, here's our beautiful fountain that was also a generous gift and donation by Jean Warden's family in her honor. Jean is a longtime member of the Butterfly Habitat Committee. This is all due to the generosity of Shell Point residents and the committee members. You may remember from our blessing of the garden that volunteers actually built this walkway and the deck on into the garden. The committee had the feeling that the garden is best viewed from the inside out. And Sharalee, can you tell what we've been doing inside the garden?
Yes, the garden started with a few basic plants, but since about January of 2015, we've put nothing in but butterfly-specific nectar plants and butterfly-specific host plants. And so what you'll see when you're looking out here is everything that our butterflies need to not only come and nectar here, but also to complete their life cycle, lay their eggs, make their chrysalises, and then become an adult butterfly again. We have native plants. We have about 60 native plants out of the 128 species of plants that we have. We have over 40 host plants, which is the plants that the butterflies lay their eggs on and the caterpillars eat. And then we have over 70 nectar plants where the adult butterflies actually get their nutrition from.
The walkway and this area of the deck were made possible through a donation by the Sharp Family Foundation in honor of Emily Sharp. This place is just a great place to come and sit and do some reflection. I've seen people doing some Tai Chi here and some yoga and just laying on a bench and reading a book. It's just a wonderful, peaceful place, and just butterflies flying all over.
There are, like I say, 24 different species so far that I've taken pictures of. And I find that the best time to take pictures are about 10:30 or a little after 10:30. It's got good lighting and the butterflies are out then. So that's a great time to view the garden.
If you're looking in the garden and you're thinking, gee, there's lots of weeds, there are, because butterflies love weeds, and a lot of weedy looking things are butterfly host plants. We have the water hemlock and the false nettle, which is all volunteer for us. It was here before we got here. And those are host plants to the red admiral and the black swallowtail. And then the lower weedy ground cover over here is host plants to one of the prettiest little butterflies, and you'll see them all over Shell Point. It's the water hyssop. It's the low, a succulent looking thing, and that's the white peacock's host plant. So there's a reason for everything here, and one of the joys of the butterfly garden is that you want to let the plants stay in their natural form. Pruning them, boxes, hedges, not really a good fit for butterflies. So you want to let it be a little bit weedy. You want to make sure that the flowers have a chance to completely bloom. You want a lot of foliage, and a lot of foliage for the caterpillars. This is our newest area, and we have this thanks to Jane, who asked the question, do you think we can have a little extra area for our butterfly garden? And the response was a resounding yes. So we're lucky enough to have this new area. The only existing plants are the pygmy date palms and the verbinum, and we left those. Everything else is strictly butterfly related, and a lot of planning went into this. So it'll be fun for everybody to come watch this grow up, since it was just planted.
This, believe it or not, within probably a year, this garden will be as big as this one. That's another thing that the committee's looking really forward to watching that growth occur. Now we'd like to welcome you to the Butterfly Bed and Breakfast. Come on in.
So the first thing you'll notice in the bed and breakfast is that we have the host plants in here so that we can take selected caterpillars from our garden and bring them in here in hopes that they make it into a chrysalis and into adulthood without being eaten by predators. The first thing you'll notice is we have this chrysalis box here, and we take chrysalises that we can easily get and or that are in peril, and we put them in here. It's always facing out, so whether the screen room is open or not, people can come and look and watch the progress of our butterflies. If you want to see some caterpillars, we don't have as many at the moment, but I can show you two polydamas butterflies, or they're called gold rim swallowtails. Here's a big guy, and this is the pipe vine that they're on. And then these are the little guys. And they're one of the few butterflies that when they're tiny, they do communal eating. They will travel together in a pack for the longest time until they get very big, and then they'll go out on their own. And when they make a chrysalis, they usually stray pretty far from their host plants. As a matter of fact, we have one that's getting ready to make a chrysalis, and he is down and over. So that's our polydamas, or gold rim swallowtail, in the C position, ready to make his chrysalis.
The idea of the bed and breakfast came about because the survival rate for butterflies outside the screen room is about 2%. 2% of the eggs develop into pupa and then caterpillars. So with having this bed and breakfast, we can bring some of those in and increase our percentage of life with the butterflies. This screen room was made possible by generous donations of Shell Point residents. This entire garden is everything that you've seen today is a result of the volunteers that work on the committees and the residents' love of nature and butterflies. And where are we on our certification for the North America Butterfly Association?
Well, I just emailed yesterday, and Mr. Cleburne emailed me back. So we are supposed to be getting our butterfly habitat certification and our 2 habitat signs hopefully mailed sometime this week.
Oh, wonderful.
We've been waiting for that.
We're also waiting. We're going to have a website on the Shell Point website, and people will be able to see the butterfly habitat online, and we believe that through this new certification that we're going to get, that we're going to have more outside visitors coming to see the garden. If you all enjoyed what you've seen today, come on out and see it for yourself. If you want information, you can always contact me, Jane Johnston, Sharalee Dias, or Alvin Williams, and get any information that you might want.
Melody Desilets of the Legacy Foundation has somehow coerced Jeff Cory into helping her out with some large farm equipment. Now apparently it has something to do with a breakfast buffet and a business leadership event coming next Monday.
Okay, from tire to tire, we're looking at 6 feet, 2.5 inches.
Okay.
Let's get the side of this John Deere tractor here. Uh-oh, Well, it's a little bigger than I thought, but I think we can do it. It's over 14 feet.
Melody, I don't think this is going to work. You're going to drive this tractor into the commons?
Absolutely. We have to throw a big party, Jeff. The men deserve it.
I know our men deserve it, and we're going to have the former CEO of John Deere for a breakfast at Shell Point, Robert Lane.
It's going to be a wonderful party on April 25th, and we just have to get this John Deere tractor in the commons.
Okay, well, Mr. Lane's going to be talking about human flourishing, the high calling of business leadership. And who better than the former chairman of John Deere to speak to our men?
It is going to be a wonderful men's breakfast, and here's the cool part. They receive an excellent feast fit for a king.
Really? What's going to
Yes.
be included in that breakfast?
An open-face omelet bar. We have waffles with real maple syrup. We have an apple crumb breakfast casserole, breakfast potatoes, meat and biscuits and gravy. Oh, and the list goes on. Our men don't want to miss this.
This sounds like a breakfast fit for a farmer.
Now, Jeff, there is a sign-up associated with this wonderful event. It's a $10 charge, and you sign up through me at the Legacy Foundation, and my telephone number is 489-8483. So our men don't want to miss out on this wonderful event, Monday, April 25th.
You heard from her, men. This is going to be a great breakfast, and it's sure to sell out. Seating is limited, so make sure you call Melody today. Melody, what are you doing?
Well, Jeff, I don't know if our measurements were accurate, but we're going to get this thing in the commons anyways. Come join us, men. We'll have a great time.
Melody.
And now it's time to take a look at today's happenings, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hello, welcome to the Happening segment of Shell Point TV. I'm Bev Chandley.
And I'm Caitlin Van Scoy.
We're going to go over the activities that we offer for you here today at Shell Point. We're going to start bright and early today with the 7:15 Health Connections class, Bend, Breathe, and Balance. That'll be in the Tarpon Room on the island. At 8 o'clock, we have the round robin doubles tennis down at the courts. Our stamp ministry will be meeting in the stamp room at 8:15. And at 8:30, the Ladies Golf Association will be meeting at the Shell Point Golf Club. 9 o'clock is the time for bocce down at the Woodlands Bocce Courts. And we have our card making and scrapbooking group in the Tarpon Room at 9:15. Also at 9:15, we have the caregiver support therapy in the conference room of the Medical Center. And we also have the memory care group at 9:15. They'll be in the conference room of behavioral health. Open painting will be in the art studio at 9:15. And shuffleboard will be at the shuffleboard courts, also at 9:15. We move on to 9:30 with match play mixed doubles tennis at the Woodlands Tennis Courts. And the Susie Q boat's going to Woody's Waterfront Restaurant on Pine Island at 10 o'clock. Through the Bible study group will be in the Osprey Room at 10:15. And at 10:30, the caregiver support group therapy will go on in the conference room of the Medical Center. And the memory care group will be in the conference room of behavioral health at 10:30. That's the morning lineup. Here's Caitlin for the afternoon.
Thanks, Bev. At 12:30, we have Mixed Progressive Bridge in the game room of the Woodlands. And the Knitters group will be in the Osprey Room at 1:15. Also at 1:15, the Women's Ministry's Prayer for Missions will be held in the Hospitality Room of the Village Church. And the Stamp Ministry will be meeting in the Sable Room of the Woodlands at 1:30. At 1:45, we have Fun and Fitness in the Community Room of King's Crown. And then we move to 2:45 for Health Connections class, Osteo Break Free in the Tarpon Room. The Rollicking Recorderist will be in the Tarpon Room at 3:45. And we move all the way to 7:15 for the 2016 variety show, Bright Lights Big City. So make sure you're there and no sign up required. That'll be at the Village Church. We're so happy you joined us here today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is coconut shrimp with yellow rice and Caribbean vegetables. The dinner special is the turkey buffet for $13.95. The soup of the day is lima bean. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a ham and Swiss panini with fries for $7.75. The dinner special is grilled tilapia over rice pilaf with fresh spinach for $8.75. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are grilled sirloin for $16.95 or Oriental yellowfin tuna for $20.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm David Pavey. An anonymous source recently leaked a treasure trove of confidential documents known as the Panama Papers, showing the myriad ways in which the rich and famous of this world sometimes use secretive offshore accounts to hide their money from public scrutiny. The Panama Papers comprise 11.5 million files from the database of the world's fourth largest offshore law firm, Mossack Fonseca. It's the biggest leak in history, dwarfing the data released by the WikiLeaks organization in 2010. For context, if the amount of data released by WikiLeaks was equivalent to the population of San Francisco, the amount of data released in the Panama Papers is the equivalent to that of India. And this firm is only one of thousands in the world. The papers reveal that 12 national leaders from around the world are among 143 politicians, their families, and their close associates who have been using offshore tax havens. In all, the details of 214,000 entities, including companies, trusts, and foundations, were leaked. It will take a long time for the authorities to sift through the documents and take action. Now, that's not to say that all offshore financial dealings are corrupt. They are not. But for some of these wealthy and famous people implicated in the Panama Papers leak, the goal seems to have been to avoid paying appropriate taxes. Laws are like spiders' webs, observed the French novelist Balzac. The big flies pass through, while the little flies get stuck. And to present oneself as a moral example, while secretly espousing an immoral practice, is at the very least hypocritical. Jesus himself had a lot to say about hypocrites in the Gospels, and he was addressing religious people, not the so-called publicans and sinners. So we shouldn't be too quick to concede that his teaching could not apply to us. Check Matthew 23, for example. Here's a short section from the New Living Translation. I quote, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are careful to tithe even the tiniest income from your herb gardens, but you ignore the more important aspects of the law, justice, mercy, and faith. You should tithe, yes, but do not neglect the more important things. Blind guides, you strain your water so you won't accidentally swallow a gnat, but you swallow a camel. What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you're like whitewashed tombs, beautiful on the outside, but filled on the inside with dead people's bones and all sorts of impurity. Outwardly you look like righteous people, but inwardly your hearts are filled with hypocrisy and lawlessness." And that's only part of the monologue. Then there's a very scary story about hypocrisy in the first century church, recorded in the Acts of the Apostles. It goes like this, I quote, "There was a certain man named Ananias, who with his wife Sapphira sold some property. He brought part of the money to the apostles while claiming it was the full amount, and with his wife's consent he kept the rest. Then Peter said, 'Ananias, why have you let Satan fill your heart? You lied to the Holy Spirit, and you kept some of the money for yourself. The property was yours to sell or not sell as you wished, And after selling it, the money was also yours to give away. How could you do a thing like this? You weren't lying to us, you were lying to God. As soon as Ananias heard these words, he fell to the floor and died. Everyone who heard about it was terrified. And some young men got up, wrapped him in a sheet, took him out, and buried him. Now, about 3 hours later, his wife came in, not knowing what had happened. Peter asked her, "Was this the price you and your husband received for your land?" "Oh, yes," she replied, "that was the price." And Peter said, "How could the two of you even think of conspiring to test the Spirit of the Lord like this? The young men who buried your husband are just outside the door, and they'll carry you out too." Instantly she fell to the floor and died. And when the young men came in and saw that she was dead, they carried her out and buried her beside her husband. Great fear gripped the entire church and everyone else who heard what had happened. With God, there is no offshore accounting. To quote the letter to the Hebrews in the Bible, nothing in all creation is hidden from God. Everything is naked and exposed before his eyes, and he is the one to whom we are accountable. We may succeed in hiding things from each other, but with God there are no secrets. Salvation, freedom, and life come not through keeping our offshore accounts of sin secret, but through confessing them to God, who knows about them already, and is waiting for us to come clean, and then to forgive us. That restores our relationship with our Creator, engenders peace within ourselves, and enables reconciliation with other people. Yes, the Panama Papers leak regarding offshore tax havens will spell trouble for some hypocrites. But let them be a reminder to us that we need to come clean with God. When we are open and honest with Him, there's nothing left to haunt us. We're invited out of hiding, free to reveal our hearts, and the only debt that is left outstanding is a continuing debt to love God and love one another. Now, thank you for tuning in once again to Village Church Connections.
And that's going to bring this Shell Point Today program to a close for Tuesday, April 19th. Tune in again tomorrow when Ruth Duber will whip up a delicious recipe of blueberry pear crisp. And we'll show you photos from trips aboard the Suzy Q, taken recently by our assisted living residents. I'm Dan Filgreen, and on behalf of everyone here at Shell Point TV, we'd like to wish you a wonderful rest of your day and look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.